We're going to do our rankings, Dynasty, and Seasonal for running backs. Go ahead and click that like button. And as a thank you, here's a picture of a squirrel. These charts are already sent out to our Patreon subscribers. It's $1 a month. You get these charts, you get analytics, you get invited to giveaways. We just send it.
Kinds of stuff.
It's $1 a month, $12 a year. You could get a Juju Smith-Schuster, Hopkins, Kamara. We give them away for pretty much no reason, randomly. Yeah. So you're either in it or you're not, including the helmet. And we give you these things early. So you technically don't have to watch the video. But we're awesome, so you should watch it anyway.
Yeah.
With that being said, let's get into it. Seasonal or Dynasty first?
Let's go through that seasonal.
All right. Take it away.
All right. So in that first tier, my number one's Dalvin Cook. I mean, a lot of people have Christian McCaffrey. Some have Saquon or Kamara. But I think it's Dalvin Cook.
I have Dalvin Cook 1.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. We're on the same page there.
Good. Who you got number 2?
Saquon.
I got CMC.
Okay. So the reason I have Saquon 2 is, I guess at this point he's kind of injury prone, but just like Dalvin Cook, his first 2 years he didn't really play. Okay. We at least saw Saquon play a little. I don't think he's injury prone. I think it was kind of a freak thing last year, and it was
last year kind of was, yeah.
So the reason I have him 2 is because I know his potential. I've seen him do it. And he has historically done amazing with the inability to run the ball.
Yeah, on the team.
So it doesn't matter his schedule. It doesn't matter if it's 3rd and 37. He's going to be successful. He's going to get a shit ton of catches. He's going to get a shit ton of touchdowns. As long as he's healthy, I think he's number 1. But I think he could get hurt. And I think Dalvin Cook has just solidified this, I'm the number 1 running back this year in a lot of ways.
Yeah. To me, it just seems kind of obvious. But I have Saquon down at 5. He's just, the last 2 years, injury. So he's still high, but I want to see a little bit more consistency from him.
Yeah, I have Christian McCaffrey 3rd. Same reason as Saquon Barkley. The only difference between Saquon and Christian McCaffrey is because I don't think McCaffrey is going to have as much volume in that offense. They're not going to throw it to him like they do Saquon. And Darnold doesn't necessarily, he's not used to it. Although he has some really good passes to Bell. He's just naturally not really thrown to running backs very often. So I think the volume is a little bit lower than Barkley. That's the only reason why I have him 3rd. All 3 of those guys, I am not going to have a problem with you taking 1, 2, or 3.
I have him at 5, but I still, if you want to take him that high, I can see it, absolutely. At 3, I have Alvin Kamara. With Breeze gone, I think they're going to lean on Kamara even more because I think Jameis is going to be the quarterback. I think he'll lead it, which if he is, that's good for Michael Thomas. That's good for Alvin Kamara because it's a better offense. But I think Kamara, he's kind of up there, top 5 guaranteed.
I have Kamara at 11.
Really?
I have him at the bottom of my 2nd tier. And the reason is I don't think he has the body. And I've said this when he was a rookie, and he proved me wrong for a while. He doesn't have the body for this workload. And his workloads got higher and higher every year. Mm. Last year we heard about him getting
he did the back.
The
injection in it.
Yeah, so I think it's starting to catch up with him. He's a little bit older. He's got paid. I think maybe he can't handle it as much. I don't think
maybe he doesn't handle as many rushing attempts, but more passing.
I don't think that offense is going to be as good. There's a big difference with Breeze back there.
Yeah.
It gives him the ability to run the ball. A lot of his fantasy points came from touchdowns and runs, not necessarily just the catches. Well, yeah. I think the catches are going to even be better. I think his touchdowns are going to regress. I think his efficiency running the ball is going to drop severely. I think he's still an RB1.
I just don't think it'll drop that much. That's why I still have him up there in that top tier. I mean, he could get injured, and if he does, then yeah, he's going to drop a lot. But until then, he's up there.
All right. I don't want to do it. I'll tell you my number 4.
You don't want to do it?
I have never at any point in time in his entire career said anything positive about Joe Mixon. The whole world was Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon, Joe Mixon. Oh, I like Joe Mixon. Oh, he's a breakout candidate, Joe Mixon. And every year I say he's overvalued. Every year. And I've been right so far. For the most part. He showed things every once in a while, flashes, but he has not been consistent. He has not been elite.
He's gotten some injuries.
Everybody's always been on Joe Mixon's bandwagon. I have consistently said I hate the guy. I won't even draft him because he's way overvalued. I have him 4th.
Fourth?
I have him 4th.
Wow, that's
in
high.
seasonal. And I think it's funny because I have him higher than pretty much everybody else.
Yeah, that's higher than I've seen.
So, this is my train of thought. Joe Mixon has been put in a situation that has not been good. And this is what I said for a long time. Now it's in a great position. Burrow is a good quarterback. They have to figure out how to cover.
He should be a good quarterback.
They have to figure out how to cover all those weapons on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And when it is a passing situation, he can catch too.
Yeah.
So if you go too heavy into coverage, Mixon's going to get a bunch of underneath routes. He might have more catches this year than he's ever had in a single season. His running lanes are going to be better. Their line's still bad.
It is bad. They tried to help it out, and it did get a little bit better, but they did lose an offensive tackle already before the season even started.
I think with what we saw out of Burrow, coupled with their acquisition of Jamar Chase, I don't think anybody's now looking at Joe Mixon. When last year, that's all they did. Stop the run, stop the game. And Burrow just threw all over him, right? I think now it's got to the point where they're not even looking at Joe Mixon. They're worried about that passing attack.
I think they're still looking at him.
I think that's not the prime of the defense is going to be stopping them receivers, and it's going to give him way more efficiency. And I have him this high because I think he's undervalued. I've never said anything positive about Joe Mixon. I don't like the guy who broke the chick's face and then sued her for defamation. I don't like him as a person. I've never believed in him. But this year, if he's going to win me money, I like him.
All right. I have him down at 10, which I think is close to where he'll be. I mean, he could be a little bit higher. If all things go right for Cincinnati, yeah, he could be that high. But I don't see him cracking the top 5 with Cook, McCaffrey, Kamara, Barkley, and Elliott. I don't think he can beat those guys.
I have him in the top tier. I have one more person in my top tier.
One more?
One more.
Who is that?
And the only reason why I have Nick Chubb, the bottom, is because he doesn't get the passing work.
He doesn't.
Mixon, Caffrey, Barkley, Cook, they're all going to catch some passes. Chubb will not really catch passes. He will, but it's not going to be a big portion of his points.
No, yeah.
Those guys, especially Barkley, especially McCaffrey, that's where the bulk comes from. Chubb's not going to get a bulk from there. But he's a power back in a power offense.
And he can break
with
it.
The 6th most favorable schedule for running back.
He does have a good schedule. Yeah.
So I think he's going to ground and pound the shit out of the ball. And I have him in the first tier because his floor is so high that he's going to be a plug-and-play player. Don't worry about. He might not throw up 60 points like maybe a McCaffrey can do, but he's going to have a very consistent floor, and he's going to have that occasional 2-3 touchdown game.
I mean, he should have that occasional game. I have him at 7. He finished 10th last year. If he can stay healthy for a full year, he could reach that. But I mean, he played 12 games last year, and again, he finished 10th. It's pretty good.
That team they underperformed. They got it together at the end of the year, but they underperformed.
But Chubb plays in directly to what they're trying to do, though.
Yeah, and I'm saying, just like Joe Mixon, I didn't like Chubb last year. I think he was overvalued. He ended up proving me wrong a little bit. He went a little too high in drafts. His ADP was too high, but he got close to that.
He did.
Okay, Joe Mixon was nowhere near it.
Yeah.
Right. So Nick Chubb, I think, is going to supersede his ADP this year. I think he's still high in ADP, but I think he's going to be a top 5.
He's going as the 8th running back.
Exactly. I think he will do better than 8th. I have him at 5th because of the floor. I mean, when I build a team, I have a good mix between floor and ceiling. And if those ceiling players are gone, he's the next guy in line I would want because of that floor.
Yeah.
That line I drew underneath Chubb was a very hard line for me to draw because I wanted to include the next 2 guys.
I can't leave Derrick Henry out of that, but I can leave. He's been Ezekiel Elliott. He's just been getting worse last few years. And even with that coming back, he should do better, but I don't think he's that top tier with those guys.
The reason everybody liked Zeke is because he had that safe floor with the ability to catch. Kind of like Derrick Henry, but he was better at catching. So his upside was higher. I think they're the same player now. I have Derrick Henry 6th and Elliott 7th. I really wanted to put him in the top tier, but I couldn't. I couldn't because of 2 reasons. Number 1, I think Ezekiel Elliott has passed his prime. Still, great running back. He's 7th.
Oh, yeah. He's still above average,
right?
Yeah.
I think that Dallas team's offensive line is a big difference between now and 3 years ago. And 3 years ago, it made him elite.
Yeah.
I think now he's not. He's great. He's not elite, but he's great. Derrick Henry, kind of the same situation. Derrick Henry has a lot more miles than Elliott.
A lot of miles.
And I think he's starting to wear down just because of age. He's still a big guy. He's going to be hard to bring down. He's still going to be Derrick Henry. I have him 6th. I just think there's going to be a better chance that Nick Chubb can run consistent all 18 games. 18 now, right?
17.
They added a game this year.
They did, so it says 16, 17, so but you get to buy.
So I think it's safer to say Nick Chubb's going to run strong all 17 games. I can see Derrick Henry slowing down at the end of the season, kind of like what we were saying with Todd Gurley a couple years ago when I got out of the Todd Gurley, and everybody was like, oh, it's too early. And I got top dollar for him, and he just plummeted to the ground. I don't think Derrick Henry's going to plummet that far, but I think he's going to slow down. I think Ezekiel Elliott,
if he slows down, he's going to plummet.
I think Ezekiel Elliott is not going to be as efficient.
I think he'll slow down. It's going to be slow decline as it has been already.
But they're close. Like I said, 6 and 7 is still good running back.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so at number 8, I got Jonathan Taylor right behind Nick Chubb. But, I mean, Taylor finished 5th last year. The Colts have one of the best lines in football. Maybe not the best, but they have one of the best lines.
They have the best guard. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, solid line, and that helps Taylor all the more. Now, Mack did go out early in the season, really early week 1. So Taylor, I mean, that did help benefit him, but he didn't really take off until the back end of the season where he really just lit the world on fire. And then Mack comes back. I'm not really worried about Mack. I think Mack is more of a handcuff. He's a rotational player when Taylor needs a breather. I think Taylor's the main guy back there, and I really want to put him higher. But I think there's 2 running backs missing last year in McCaffrey and Saquon. So, I mean, I would at least put those guys ahead of him, so move back a little bit.
Well, we've talked about this before. I have him in this 2nd tier as well. I don't have him this high. I have him 9th. Marlon Mack was more efficient and did more when he was the starter. He got re-signed. I know it was to a year. But he's going to have a role. I don't know how big of a role. But Marlon Mack is a good back that can catch and can run in between the tackles. Nyheim Hines is only 24. He is a solidified 3rd down back. So yeah. I don't think much either one of them are going to get a lot of catches, but I think they'll both get catches.
I think Taylor will get a decent amount. I mean, he had 38 targets last year.
Yeah, like I said, they'll get catches.
He's going to get some good catches.
But Taylor, we predicted accurately before the season started. He did exactly what we said he would do. Yeah, Marlon Mack got hurt, kind of helped that along, but we knew he was going to start slow. Jonathan Taylor is kind of like a Derrick Henry. His first rush of the game usually doesn't do shit, but his last rush of the game is like a 60-yard touchdown.
He has more catching ability than Henry, though.
Yes, he does. He's got to wear down a team. They have a very favorable schedule for running backs. I think there will be a small committee.
It's all right.
Derrick Henry does not have a committee. Ezekiel Elliott does not have a committee.
Well, that's why he's ahead of him.
Now, Nick Chubb has
That's where it gets hairy.
one guy.
Yeah.
And that guy does nothing what Chubb does.
Yeah, that's what helps.
Okay?
But Taylor...
Jonathan Taylor has two other guys that can do what he does. Not as well.
Well, Hines can't really do what he does.
Hines still
Mack
runs
can
the
do
ball.
what he does, but like I said in the past, I'm not worried about Mack. I mean, like, it's 1 year, $2 million contract.
Hines had a 4.1 yard per carry average. That's good. Now, It wasn't a lot of carries.
No.
So it's easy to be efficient. Marlon Mack, the year before, when he played the whole year, he had a 4.3 yard per carry average with over 1,000 yards.
He had a 5 yards per attempt last year.
One of the reasons why Jonathan Taylor was so successful last year, I'm going to give it to you. Give it to you straight. Phillip Rivers.
Phillip Rivers.
Yeah.
That's why he was good?
Mm-hmm.
Because Phillip Rivers likes his running backs?
No, Phillip Rivers trash. And they relied on their running backs.
I mean, goes both ways, but
so,
maybe.
Either you believe Wentz can do something.
Well, I've said that in the past. I think he can.
There you go. I think they're going to throw the ball a hell of a lot more.
Well, that's where it gets a little hairy because they should throw it more, but who are they going to throw it to, really?
I think Taylor is going to have less volume this year than he had last year. Let me build a case. I think Taylor is going to have less volume than he did last year. Okay? I think the team is going to be more efficient running the ball. I think Taylor will have more touchdowns, but less yards. I think he's still a good running back. I have him top 10. I have him 9th. I'm just saying.
I think I'm
there's
a little low,
no
honestly,
way.
The more I talk about it.
There's no way I can put him in the top tier with Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, McCaffrey, Barkley, or Cook.
You say he gets more touchdowns.
Yeah, but he has limited catches, which is what makes him
I don't think it's that limited. He had 38 targets last year. I think he has more. Not by a lot, but I think he has more targets this year. He had 11 touchdowns rushing last year.
How many yards did he have last year?
1,169.
Okay. Do you think he can get to 1,400 yards?
With an extra game, yeah. I think he can get to that.
Okay. I don't think he can. That's the difference. Because he needs to get there.
Well,
that's what Derrick Henry needs to do. That's what Zeke needs to do. That's what Nick Chubb needs to do because they don't catch.
He had 36 catches, though, for 300 yards. So
yes, because it was Phillip Rivers.
I still think he's going to get close to that. I think it'll be a little higher, but it's going to be close.
Do you think LaDainian Tomlinson had that many catches because of... Why?
Rivers was good back then.
Yeah, but he always threw it to Tomlinson. Because Tomlinson is fucking awesome. He grew into that person. Eckler became the next Tomlinson. Wherever Phillip goes, he's going to have his first read the running back.
I'm just saying, it's a solid line. I think Wentz is better than Rivers, so it's going to up that offense. There aren't necessarily
How many times
does
Wentz throw to the running back?
But
I think his catches are going to go down. Maybe I'm wrong. I think
he's going to get the goal line, and they're going to have at least 20 goal line attempts.
I'm just saying.
At least. So
his catches are going to go down.
Even if he doesn't get 1,400 yards, say he gets 11. His
attempts are going to go down.
His touchdowns are going to be double digits, and that's what's going to get him high.
I think they can be. I'm not shitting on the guy. I'm not saying he's a terrible running back. I have him in the top 10.
I just feel the more I talk about him, I feel like I'm low on him. I want to put him higher.
There's a weird cult around Jonathan Taylor that I'm trying to combat with. Because everybody who likes Jonathan Taylor thinks he's literally Jesus. And I don't get it. He's good, but he's not fucking awesome.
I'll tell you this. He's my number 1 Dynasty player.
No.
Yeah.
No.
He is.
He's 5th.
And
I think that's generous.
I don't think it is generous.
I think 1 year from today, he will be 9th.
I think people are going to see him as, oh, yeah, that is the one. And some people already see it.
No, because I think there's a very good chance Javonte, J.K. Dobbins, Najee, Cam,
If Javonte
Antonio
goes
Gibson.
off,
I'm saying there's a lot
even
of
if Gibson
candidates.
Does, I don't think he can beat Taylor.
There's a lot of candidates that could be better than him,
I
who are
wouldn't put
just as
Gibson
young.
above of him. Let's go to this third tier.
No, I'm still in the second tier.
You're still in the second tier?
I'm
Where
above
do you wanna
Taylor.
go?
I think Aaron Jones is above Taylor.
I have Aaron Jones at 16.
See, this is
And
massive.
this is because
differences.
Aaron Rodgers doesn't play.
Okay,
That's what I think.
so you make an argument that a quarterback's bad and they rely on the running back. So
I
the
don't
running
think
back's
Wentz is
good.
bad. I never said he was.
Earlier.
When?
I digress. Aaron Jones will be better than Taylor because he's going to be needed more.
I mean, yes, but I
Especially,
don't see that offense running good
I don't either.
without Rodgers.
I don't either.
And that's why I have him this low.
They're not going to be
I think
Jet-style
Devontae's going to
bad.
be hard to stop, but Jordan Love isn't necessarily going to be hard to stop. So they're going to have to rely more on Aaron Jones, and teams are going to know that, and they're going to try to stop him first because they think that they can beat Jordan Love until he proves them wrong.
Yeah, how many people fucking go to Tennessee and say, we got to stop fucking Henry, and then they can't? How many times do you go to Baltimore and say, we just got to stop the run, and they can't? I'm not.
You can stop the run in Green Bay with Aaron Jones.
You can stop the run
Especially
on
without
teams
Rodgers.
like the Cowboys, who have a bad offensive line. It's
The
harder.
Packers don't have a great offensive line.
It's not a bad one.
It's better passing.
I think Aaron Jones will be just as good as Jonathan Taylor. If you want to argue Taylor's 8 and Jones is 9, so fucking be it. They're in the same tier. I have Henry, Elliott, Jones, Taylor. All in the same tier. They're all very good RB1s.
I mean, yeah, just without Rodgers, I don't see the offense good. I don't have him as an RB1. I have him at down 16.
You don't
In the-
even know if
in the
Rodgers
third
is not
tier.
going to play.
Well, I mean, I got to base my rankings off something, and that's what I think is going to happen.
I think Rodgers plays.
If he plays, then I'll adjust everything that I'm doing.
Aaron Jones is good.
I mean, if he plays, it might not be for that team. And if it is, then Jones stays.
Number 10, I have Najee Harris.
That's where I'm mixing. Najee. I mean,
I have Najee.
I think they're going to rely on the run. He definitely could be up there.
Najee can catch the ball. He can run the ball. The Steelers have always had a productive running back. I think they have a lot of, like I said before with the quarterback video, they have a lot of short pass receivers. They're going to have to cover in zones. If you have a running back that is built like Najee, he's going to be able to take advantage of short zone schemes. He's going to get chunk plays. I think Najee's going to be very high floor running back. The only reason why he's this low is because he's a rookie.
Yeah, I am at 14 because of that.
I mean,
But
that's really, I
it
have
could
to see
change
it.
very quickly, though.
I have to see it.
Yeah.
I could very easily have Najee. If you believed that much in Najee Harris, maybe you're a Steelers fan, I would be okay taking him up with Derrick Henry.
Yeah, next to here, yeah. Because
They're the same tier.
if he hits, then that is his potential. He's up there in that top tier.
Well, I really wanted to put Najee above Jonathan Taylor, but I do like Taylor. It's not that I hate the guy. I just feel like it's one of those things where when everybody's on one side of the fence, I obligated to argue the other side of the fence. And number 11, the last person in this tier for me is Alvin Kamara. I think he's still an RB1.
Said earlier.
It's just there's questions there.
Yeah.
So you have high ceiling and high floor. Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott, Aaron Jones, high floor. And then you have high ceiling, Alvin Kamara, Najee Harris. And I think Jonathan Taylor is kind of in the middle. He has a high ceiling, but he has kind of a high floor. It's just not, either one of them is really close. But that's my tier 2.
Yeah, I have at 11 Cam Akers, 12 Gibson, and that rounds out my tier 2.
Now, when I was setting this up, I had a very difficult time because I also did an overall ranking. I'm starting to like a lot of these people in tier 3, in the running backs. And the reason is because you can get them and they have potential, but their value's so much lower that you could go in my opinion, not running back. Now, I know last year there was a lot of success for the people who went not running back because a lot of running backs went down last year. You didn't have Barkley. You didn't have McCaffrey. I get that. But I kind of see a lot of potential here at the next tier. This is my bread and butter tier. To start this tier off, number 12, I have Antonio Gibson.
That's where I have him, but I have him a tier above. Right there on my tier break at 13, I have J.K. Dobbins. You get Ingram out of there. It's just him. You got Gus Bus, but I'd much rather have Dobbins. Between him and Lamar Jackson, he should have a solid year.
Yeah, I have Dobbins at 16. Same tier, a little lower. I think he's overhyped. I think he's a good player. I think he'll be okay.
Yeah.
I think he's going to have a campaign that's not going to blow you out of the water. I think he's going to be very efficient.
Yeah, he's not going to lose you, and he's going to have some weeks where he wins you because he'll have a 2-3 touchdown game.
Right. I believe that. I would feel better with the people I have above him. 13, I have Cam Akers. Okay, Cam Akers.
I think that team's going to be good. So
last year, week 3, in our video, I said Cam Akers has formed a vagina.
Did I? I don't remember that.
Now, he's not the roughest, toughest brick in the wall, all right? But he is very elusive. They're going to use him kind of like they used Todd Gurley. I don't think he's as good as Todd Gurley, but I think he fits the scheme well. They have one of the best running back schedules, and I think now that they have Matthew Stafford, it's going to open up the run more. A lot of people like Akers right now. I can get on that bandwagon. But in the seasonal league, I'm not going to take a shot. I want to see it. That's why he's in this third tier. That's why I wouldn't take him higher. That's why I like this third tier. Because you can get great value. Because Cam Akers could very well finish as an RB1.
Yeah, I have him as 11. I just believe him in a little bit more. I think he is going to hit.
Underneath Akers, I have Gaskin.
That's high.
It is a little high. But I think that offense is going to be just as good, if not better, than they were last year. When Fitzmagic left, it did kind of hurt Gaskin.
Yeah.
But I don't think that's a permanent thing. And I don't think Gaskin has too many people nipping at his heels.
Yeah, he is Salvon Ahmad. That's about it.
So he's going to get the workload. I think the offense is going to be able to move the ball. I think his floor is so high that's why I have him here. You could take a shot on J.K. Dobbins, but I think Dobbins has a low floor. There's a lot of people that are going to run the ball.
Low floor.
I don't think they're going to be able to pass the ball at all this year. And now nobody's been able to.
Well, it doesn't matter if they don't pass the ball.
Nobody's been able to stop the run. I get that, but there's more than just Dobbins there. Gus is going to get some carries.
He's going to get some.
Lamar's
but I like the run
the
game more than the pass game.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's the part I want if I'm taking that offense. And it's a good piece to have.
I'm just saying, I like the safe floor of Gaskins over the ceiling of Dobbins. Yeah. They're really close. I have 14 and 16.
Yeah, Gaskin I have down at 23. It might be a little low, but I think he's a top 24 running back. It's a good floor for him because he is the only guy. But I'm not sure if he really does anything with it. I need to see a little bit more. He has a lot of potential, and he could be a huge hit for you in the season, but I got to see it.
Yeah, and these are early rankings.
Yeah.
Things will change. After we did the tight end video, I made a couple adjustments. Our Patreons can see those. 15 is the one.
15's the one?
15's the
What's
one.
the one about 15?
It's David Montgomery.
It's Josh Jacobs.
You have Josh Jacobs that high?
I have him that high.
I respect that.
You respect that?
I have Josh Jacobs 23.
Wow. People are hating on Josh Jacobs. Is it Kenny and Drake?
No.
Or is it just the Raiders?
It's the Raiders.
It's the Raiders. I can see that. But, you look at last year, he finished 8th. He's top 12 running back. Down at
He-
15, his
he-
potential's there, and I'm not really worried about Drake.
He has one of the hardest schedules for a running back.
It is a hard schedule.
The Raiders are not. I don't think they can pass the ball.
I don't know what they're doing.
I don't think they can pass the ball. And if they have to stop the run, they're a team you can stop the run on. They don't have a good offensive line.
Yeah, they don't have a good offensive line.
So I like him. It's not that I don't like Josh Jacobs. I think Josh Jacobs is a monster. In Dynasty, I have him higher. It's just
I have
this
him higher in
year.
Dynasty too. Yeah. Well, I mean, the
Don't
Raiders they keep looking like they're going to be good every year, but they don't really play out, and he's still been producing through those years. So I just feel confident putting him up there.
Yeah. I like David Montgomery.
Ooh.
I liked David Montgomery when he came out in the draft. I like him now that the Bears have a quarterback that's not Mitchell Trubisky. It really doesn't matter.
I mean,
as long as it's not Mitchell Trubisky.
he is better. He's
Okay.
better than Dalton too, which we'll get to that.
I think Montgomery has a good floor. It's not a really high floor, but it's a good floor. And he has the ability to have high potential games.
Yeah.
Because he can catch. He's elusive. He's good at the goal line. He's pretty efficient. I think they're going to have to rely on him more this year because of the rookie.
Probably, but Cohen is going to be there still.
Cohen is more of a pass catcher. And I
He
think
is.
he'll catch passes, but they're going to have to rely on a run game to open the pass. So I think David Montgomery is going to have more volume. That's why I have him this high, seasonally.
I mean, how much more volume is he going to get? He had 247 attempts last year.
Yeah, but that's because they suck. There's a difference when I can't throw the ball.
Yeah,
So
but
let's
is he going to get that many again, though, this year? Is that his volume?
I think, like I said, his efficiency is going to go up.
I mean, if it goes up, then he's definitely going to finish higher than that.
I
I mean,
think-
'cause he didn't have terrible efficiency last year.
Yeah, I don't think his carries are going to go up dramatically. I just think it's going to be more efficient.
That's pretty good. That was 15.
Yeah.
16, like I said, that's where I have Aaron Jones. Right below him at 17, I have Javonte Williams.
I have Javonte at 18. I have talked up Javonte for a while. People are starting to get on this bandwagon. I'm cool with it. Now, there's a good chance this time next year, Javonte Williams is overrated.
Possibly.
And he's literally going to be a top 5 running back next year. Perception, and that's going to be overrated. I'm predicting. Javonte Williams is good. And I don't think people really realize it because he literally split the carries in college. He doesn't have very much miles on him.
He doesn't.
His yard per carry was 2 times better than Carter. And everyone's like, yeah, Carter was the catching down back. Javonte Williams had almost twice as many catches. He is literally better in every way. He's a power back, he's a receiving back, and he doesn't have a lot of miles on him, and he's 18 months younger than Najee Harris.
He's young.
This guy is in the perfect situation.
He is. I mean, I don't see how he doesn't beat out Melvin Gordon. That's his only competition.
I have him 18th because he's a rookie. Honestly, if you believe, like I believe in Javonte Williams, I have no problem you taking him up with Alvin Kamara.
I mean, he could be. If he is that good, and then you look at that team, the potential of that team, of what they actually could be, and you combine it, he absolutely could be top 3 player seasonal dynasty.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I think, like I said, I think Denver is a playoff team.
They have the pieces.
Let's jump over to Dynasty. If you want the rest of our rankings, I mean, I guess join Patreon. It's $1. Yeah. Dynasty, I have the same number in Tier 1. They're just different people.
I have a lot in Tier 1.
A lot.
I got 6 in Tier 1.
I have 5.
Okay.
I have 5 in both. So it's the same number. They're just different players. I have Barkley, Cook, McCaffrey. It's my top 3.
Okay. As my top 3, I have Taylor, McCaffrey, Barkley.
Okay.
I like Taylor up there. He's young. He doesn't have as much injury risk as, say, McCaffrey, who I think is going to have less usage. I'm not necessarily worried about the injuries, but his usage is probably going to go down a little. And Barkley, he does have some injury concerns. I need to see it from him at least, again, once for the last 2 years before I put him up there at 1.
Well, he hasn't missed more time than Dalvin Cook has. I have Dalvin Cook up here as well because I think he's become that team. They needed an Adrian Peterson. It was easy to transition to that style. That's what the fans like. I think that's just what he is. I think it's safe. Barkley, like I said, he's kind of immune to a running back with a bad matchup. Because actually, the Giants suck. He's better. That means he just gets more catches and shit. McCaffrey, looking forward, he's not going to be on that team. I don't care what anybody says. Carolina is not going to retain him.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. He doesn't quite fit the system, like I've said last year.
I mean, he's an elite talent.
Honestly, Chuba is probably going to be the guy that in Dynasty you should look at if you really like that team. But I think McCaffrey's good and safe. I just don't think he's going to be on that team. So I don't want to draw any conclusions of his usage.
Yeah, if you're in a Dynasty League, definitely put Chuba on the taxi or get him.
Yeah. 4, Nick Chubb. I think Nick Chubb's just young. He's on a team that wants to run the ball. He's consistent. He's basically the new Zeke. He's not gonna throw up a 90 points like a Barkley or a McCaffrey, but I think his floor is so high that if you got this guy, it's just a position on your roster you never have to look at.
Yeah, in Dynasty for Chubb, I have him down at 11 in that second tier. I don't think he's that young. He's 25, almost 26, and he did blow out his knee pretty bad. So he has that injury on him. I don't see him going that much further in Dynasty. He's seasonal, yeah, but outside of a year, I'm not confident in him.
I mean, in a Dynasty, you're not really
I just like guys ahead of him.
You're just not building a team for 50 years out
Well,
front.
no, but if I can get
win.
a guy like Antonio Gibson above Chubb, I would take him.
I want to win now and have a person that has value that I could trade next year. Like, I'm really looking for winning
more
right
out of Gibson
now.
Than do Chubb.
Okay. I have Chubb in this tier. I have Jonathan Taylor in this tier too. He's the last person. He's number 5. I think Jonathan Taylor, same reason as Chubb.
Yeah. In the first tier still, I have at 5 Clyde Edwards-Helaire and then Antonio Gibson at 6 to close out the top.
I have Clyde Edwards-Helaire 19th.
I can't put him that low. I mean, you look at last year, he did good, and then he did bad. I mean, he had his moments last year. In the beginning of the year with those 6 goal line touches, and he had 1 touchdown. It was pretty terrible. But I think he's just going to continue to get better. He doesn't have any competition back there, and that is an elite offense, and that's not going anywhere, especially with Mahomes there. He's only 22 years old. His potential, I don't even think is close to reached yet.
Maybe. They don't want to run the ball.
They don't necessarily need to run the ball. When he runs the ball, he'll be efficient with it because of how the offense works, but he's going to get receiving work.
They only run the ball to keep the defense honest.
And he'll get the goal line, which I think he'll be more efficient this year. It's kind of hard not to be.
Yeah, they need a running back for the goal line. That kind of what works, but they don't care about running backs. The only reason why Le'Veon Bell was on the team was because he took basically the Jets paid the salary, and he just like, I'll make $0 to just come here.
He had 181 attempts last year and 800 yards off of it. Only 4 touchdowns. I think that's going to change. Even if he gets, say, 180 attempts still, I think he's going to have close to 1,000 yards, but the touchdowns, I think, are going to be close to double digits.
Yeah, I think there's too much that needs to happen for him, and I like literally 18 people better because they're either better now or I like their potential. His potential is not going to be elite.
I think his potential is elite. That's why I have him up here.
Oh, yeah. I don't think he'll ever be a top 5 running back.
I think he will.
I don't think he has the potential to get there.
Time will tell.
Pat Mahomes is not going to hand off the ball.
I don't think he needs to hand off the ball.
I don't think he will.
I mean, like I said, 180 attempts. I think that's good enough because he's going to get 50 targets at least.
It is a lot of attempts.
At least 50.
I think he's a candidate to actually do worse than he did last year.
Oh, I don't see that happening.
I don't see it happening either. I'm saying there's potential. But anybody above him,
I mean,
there's no potential for them to do worse than they did last year. They all have growth.
Well, this is Dynasty, not necessarily this season. But I mean, in
Correct.
season, I have him 9th.
In season, I have them the same spot.
Okay.
The second tier is kind of the same setup as I did seasonal. These are more your older, reliable guys that can win right now. 6, Henry. 7, Kamara. 8, Elliott. It's just 1, 2, 3.
I have it Akers, Najee, Javonte, Josh Jacobs, Nick Chubb, Mixon, Kamara, Elliott.
Number 9 is where I have Javonte Williams.
9. That's where I have him. Number 9.
Do you?
Yeah.
That's about where I'd put him. Because I don't think Javonte is going to beat Elliott, Kamara, Henry right now. But a year from now, I think he's there.
Yeah.
And he's young.
Yeah.
So I have him right there. The situation, the age. Underneath Javonte, 10, Dobbins.
Dobbins that high?
I have Dobbins that high.
That's high for me in Dynasty.
Baltimore's going to run the ball. They're going to continue to run the ball. He's by far the best running back to run the ball.
Right now, but they are going to run the ball no matter who's there. It's going to be a rotation, whether it's Dobbins, Gus, or someone else that they bring in from free agency or the draft. It's anybody who's there is going to run the ball.
Yeah, and Dobbins,
that's why I'm not confident
Dobbins is 100 times better than anyone else on the roster.
For now.
They're not going to draft another running back.
Maybe not draft, maybe free agency. I don't know. Something.
They're fine. And they're never going to be able to be a great pat. They're never going to be a Kansas City where you're just like, oh, it's bad for us to hand the ball off. Because why would you ever hand the ball off? We got Pat Mahomes throwing to Tyreek Hill. Right? It's never going to be that. So they're always going to run the ball. Dobbins is by far the best one to run the ball.
He's
going to have the volume.
And I like him in season. He's just Dynasty.
And
I'm
that's
down
the
at 17.
best rushing team. So I like him at 10. 11, I have Harris. We already went over Harris.
Mm-hmm.
12 is Cam Akers. Then I have Aaron Jones, Antonio Gibson, Joe Mixon. Now, I have Jones kind of high in Dynasty.
Yeah, I feel like that's kind of high. It's in the second tier.
Yeah.
I have him in the third tier down at 16. I mean, he's going to get you points this year, but outside of that, I'm not confident in him.